phone rings after midnight. The screen lights up a number you don't recognize. You're half asleep, half annoyed, and you tell yourself it's probably a wrong number, a drunk friend, or some telemarketing glitch. But you still feel that tiny urge to swipe and put it to your ear just to see who it is. If that has ever happened to you, listen carefully. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about 5 people who also thought an unknown call was nothing. Some of them ignored it. Some of them answered it. And every single one of them would give anything to go back and do it differently. If your phone is near you right now, screen facing up, I'll just say one thing. By the time these stories end, you might start keeping it face down or switched off, especially after midnight. The first story belongs to Arjun, a 19-year-old engineering student in Delhi who thought superstitions were for old people in villages. He lived in a cramped hostel room with 2 roommates, a buzzing ceiling fan, and a weak mobile signal that always cut off during important calls, never during pointless ones. You know the type of place. Peeling paint, shared bathrooms at the end of a dim corridor, and that one flickering tube light which nobody bothered to fix because everyone had already decided it was haunted. For Arjun, haunted meant jokes, not danger. He was the one who put on horror movies at 2 a.m., who laughed the loudest when someone got scared, who said things like, if ghosts really existed, they'd at least pay some rent. He believed in deadlines, Wi-Fi, and ordering momos at odd hours. That's it. Until his phone rang at 12:37 a.m. on a Tuesday. His roommates were snoring, one with an arm flung over his face, the other tangled in a bedsheet. The hostel corridor outside was quiet for once. Even the stray dogs had given up barking. Arjun was half awake, scrolling through memes with his screen brightness turned low, telling himself he would sleep after just one more reel. The vibration startled him. Unknown caller, the screen said. No number, no name, just those 2 words in capital letters, glowing in the darkness. He frowned. Midnight spam? He almost declined it, thumb hovering over the red button. But the call kept vibrating, longer than usual, like whoever was on the other end refused to be ignored. Fine, he thought. Let's see. He swiped to answer and put the phone to his ear. At first, there was only soft static, like when you tune an old radio. Then he heard something that made his skin prickle. It was his own voice. Hello? The voice said, sounding sleepy and irritated. Why are you calling so late, Yar? Arjun sat up. That was exactly how he sounded when he was half awake. The same tone, the same dragged-out Yar. For a second, he thought it was some kind of prank. Maybe one of his friends had recorded him and was playing it back. Who is this? He asked. The voice on the other end copied him perfectly. Who is this? Arjun swallowed. Stop it. Seriously. Who are you? Stop it. Seriously. Who are you? Every word, every tiny hesitation, it all came back at him, but not like an echo. An echo comes after you. This voice spoke with him, at the same time, like it knew exactly what he was going to say before he said it. Then the other voice stopped playing games. Arjun heard himself whisper, Get up. Go to the window. Don't make a sound. He didn't want to obey. His first instinct was to wake his roommates, to complain about whoever was pranking him. But something in that whispered tone, his own tone, was wrong. The way the last word thinned out, like air leaking from a punctured tire, made his chest tighten. Without quite knowing why, Arjun slid his legs off the bed and tiptoed to the narrow window. The metal grill felt cold against his fingers as he pushed the pane open a crack. The city outside was washed in sodium orange light. The hostel courtyard below was empty, the bike stands lined up like sleeping animals. 3rd floor, right? The voice on the phone murmured, still soft, still exactly like him. Don't look down yet. Look across. Across from Arjun's window, on the opposite wing of the hostel, another window was open. A figure stood there, backlit by the faint glow of a tube light. Someone else holding a phone to his ear. Arjun squinted. The other boy looked exactly like him. For a heartbeat, Arjun thought he was looking into a mirror. Same messy hair, same thin t-shirt, same slouching shoulders, same phone pressed to the right ear. The other Arjun tilted his head, as if listening to someone, then slowly raised his free hand and waved. Arjun's grip tightened on the grill. On the phone, his own whisper said, See? I told you not to look down. Of course, the first thing he did was glance down. A boy lay sprawled on the courtyard tiles directly beneath his window, one arm at an impossible angle, a dark stain spreading under his head like an ink spill. His t-shirt was familiar. Arjun's stomach turned to ice. The body on the ground was wearing his clothes. The boy in the opposite window was wearing his clothes. And he was standing there, breathing, heart racing, phone pressed to his ear. On the line, his own voice dropped to a rasp. "You weren't supposed to see that yet." Arjun stumbled back from the window, heart hammering against his ribs, the darkness of the room rushing at him like water. His roommates were still snoring, unaware. The call was still connected. Very softly, very patiently, his own voice whispered, "It's almost time. Don't cut the call, Arjun. If you do, only one of us gets to wake up alive." Arjun's hand shook so badly, he almost dropped the phone. His own voice was still in his ear, calm now, almost amused. "Do you really want to know?" it asked. "Which one of us is already lying on the ground?" Arjun did the one thing the voice had not predicted. He yanked the phone away from his ear and stabbed his thumb on the red icon. The call ended with a tiny click that sounded far too small for what it meant. For a heartbeat, everything was silent. Then the world rushed back in all at once. Somewhere a bike horn blared on the main road. A dog barked. A door slammed down the corridor. Arjun stood shaking by the window, staring at the empty opposite wing. The other window was closed. There was no one there. When he finally forced himself to look down at the courtyard, the tiles were bare, washed in orange light. No body, no blood, nothing broken except his sense of what was real. His call log showed a blank space where the last call should have been, a gap of 1 minute and 17 seconds with no number, no label, only the time. 12:37 a.m. For the rest of the semester, whenever someone joked about haunted wing, Arjun laughed along. He ordered late-night food, played horror movies, stayed the loud, rational city boy everyone knew. But he switched his phone off every night at 12:30, and he never again stood at that window after dark. On the day he moved out, the warden's wife came up to check the cupboards. She was a round, tired woman with a big key ring and the habit of talking to fill silence. "You boys do not sleep only," she muttered, peering under his bed. Phones ringing at all hours, laughter, shouting, midnight falling from windows also. Arjun froze. "What did you say?" he asked quietly. She straightened, dusting her hands. "Last year only," she said, lowering her voice as if the walls were listening. "One boy from this room. Call came after midnight. He went to answer from window. Must have leaned too far. We found him in the morning. Poor child, head broken, phone in his hand only. Number was not showing, some fault, the company people said. After that I told everyone, do not answer unknown calls after 12:30. You boys do not listen." Arjun did not tell her that he had listened once, and that something on the other end had sounded exactly like him. He did not tell her why he never answered an unknown call again. If the first story sounded like an elaborate prank, the second one is harder to joke about. Because in this one, the caller knew exactly who would pick up and exactly what she was afraid of. Mira was a young nurse in a private hospital, used to blood, pain, and the sharp chemical smell of antiseptic. Night shifts did not scare her. What scared her was going home after them. Her flat was on the edge of the city, past a row of shuttered shops and an empty lot where an unfinished building stood like a skeleton against the sky. Every night around 1 a.m., she would get off the staff bus, wrap her dupatta and walk the last 10 minutes alone. Streetlights flickered unpredictably. Sometimes dogs trailed her, sometimes a drunk man shouted from far away, but nothing truly bad had ever happened. So when her phone rang one night at 12:58, right as the bus pulled away and left her standing alone, she almost felt relieved to hear a human sound. The number was unknown. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello." For a second, there was only the hollow hum of a long-distance line. Then a man's voice said her full name, slowly, like he was tasting it. "Mira Sharma. You should not be on that road right now." She stopped walking without meaning to. "Who is this? How do you know my name? Are you from the hospital?" "No," the man said. "But I know the man who is about to start following you. Do not turn around yet." Her skin crawled. The road behind her felt suddenly crowded, although she could not hear footsteps. The man on the phone described, in a flat, precise tone, a person she had never seen. Blue shirt, black cap, beard, left shoe dragging a little. "He crossed the road just now. He is pretending to check his phone, but he is watching you." Against every instinct, Mira risked a tiny glance into a shop window as she walked. The glass was dusty, but she saw him clearly in the reflection. Blue shirt, black cap, left foot scraping slightly with each step. Her heart lurched. "Who are you?" she whispered into the phone. "Someone who did not answer in time," the caller said. "Now listen. In 30 seconds, there will be a narrow lane on your left with a broken street light. Turn there. Do not run. Speak softly, like you are still on a normal call. If you reach your building before him, you live." She wanted to think it was a sick joke, but when she reached the lane, the broken light flickered weakly, exactly where he had said. She turned, heart racing, voice steady as she forced herself to say, Han, I am almost home," as if chatting to a friend. Behind her, footsteps quickened. The caller described every movement the stranger made, every turn of his head, as if watching from above. Mira reached her gate just as the man in the blue shirt closed the distance. Her watchman, half asleep on his plastic chair, woke up when she almost crashed into him. The stranger stopped a few meters away, looked at them both, then turned and walked back into the dark. Only then did she dare hang up, but the line had already gone dead. Mira finally breathed. Her legs felt like water. The watchman asked who that man was, but she only shook her head and went upstairs without answering. Her hands were still trembling as she locked her door. When she checked her call log, her stomach dropped. The last call was there, timestamp 12:58 a.m., duration 4 minutes 12 seconds. But the number field was just zeros, like someone had dialed her from inside the phone network itself. The name said unknown. She barely slept. The next day, after her shift, she went to the small security office by the gate and asked to see last night's camera footage. The guard grumbled, but curiosity won. On the grainy screen, she watched herself get off the bus, answer her phone, and walk. A man in a blue shirt and black cap crossed the road and fell into step behind her. When she turned down the broken streetlight lane, he followed, glancing around like he was checking for witnesses. Then, suddenly, he stopped. His head jerked up, like he heard something. He stared at a point right above the camera, his face twisting with confusion, and then he turned around and walked away quickly, almost stumbling. "See," the guard said. "He got scared. You were lucky." Mira stared at the screen. The moment when the man looked up, his lips moved as if he were speaking. She leaned in, squinting, trying to read the shape of the words. It almost looked like he was saying, "Who's there?" But there was no one in the lane but her. No one visible, anyway. That night, when she told her colleague about the call, he tried to be logical. "Maybe someone nearby saw him and called you from a second phone," he suggested. "A resident? A passerby? Then why didn't they call again?" she asked. "Why does the number not exist? Why did he look up like that?" Her colleague had no answer. Weeks later, when another nurse was transferred to her route and offered to walk with her, Mira agreed. She never wanted to test whether the unknown caller would intervene a second time. Some debts, she felt, were better left unpaid. 2 stories. 2 people who picked up when they shouldn't have. If you're thinking, well, at least the calls helped them, remember this. Not every warning is a gift. Sometimes, it's an invitation. Ravi learned that the hard way. He was a call center employee, used to dealing with angry strangers on the phone. Numbers didn't scare him, they annoyed him. His shift ended at 11:30 p.m., and by the time he caught the last metro and walked home, it was always past midnight. To unwind, he'd play games on his phone until his eyes hurt. One night, at 12:45, he was in the middle of a level when his screen froze. The game crashed, and his phone rang. The display showed not digits, but a date, September 14th, 2025. That was 6 months in the future. He thought it was a software glitch, laughed, and answered. A woman was sobbing on the other end. "Hello? Is this still Ravi's number?" He sat up. "Yeah. Who is this?" She cried harder with relief. "Thank God. I got through. Listen to me carefully. On 14th September, you must not go to work. Call in sick. Do you understand?" Her voice sounded raw, like she had screamed for hours. In the background, he heard sirens, chaos, someone shouting names. Ravi frowned. "Who is this? Is this some HR prank?" "I don't have time," she whispered. "I'm calling from the emergency ward. There was a fire in your office. The ceiling collapsed near your desk. We tried so hard. I'm sorry we couldn't save you." The line crackled. "They've come to take your body now. I stole your phone for 1 minute before they locked it. I thought, if there's a chance the call goes through to the past, maybe, The call cut. Ravi stared at his reflection in the black screen, heartbeat thunderous. He saved the date in his calendar anyway, labeling it with a joke, "Die at work day." Then he tried to forget. Over the next weeks, little things happened that made it harder. The fire alarm malfunctioned one afternoon for no reason. The maintenance guys talked about exposed wiring near his floor. At a team meeting, someone casually mentioned that the company anniversary celebration with extra lights and decorations was planned for mid-September. When the date finally came, Ravi woke up with a heavy feeling. Logic told him it was all coincidence. Fear told him to stay in bed. At 9 a.m., his manager called, furious. "Where are you? Everyone's here. If you skip today, don't bother coming tomorrow." Ravi stared at the ceiling, sweating. Then his rent reminder buzzed, loud and merciless. With a curse, he dragged himself up, got dressed, and went to work. The day passed. The celebration was noisy but uneventful. At 11 p.m., exhausted but alive, he laughed at himself all the way home. See, he told himself. Ghost calls, time travel, nonsense. At 11:57, his phone rang again. Same number. Same date. September 14th, 2025. Hands numb, he answered. The same woman's voice, hoarse, whispered. "Why didn't you listen?" Confused, he said, "Nothing happened. I'm fine. Maybe you misread the files." She made a choked sound. "No," she said. "The fire started in the storage room. You went to help. The footage is all over the news. They are calling you a hero." His knees buckled. He sank to the floor. "But I'm home. I'm alive." On the other end, silence. Then, very softly, not for long, the smell of smoke reached him before he heard the neighbors screaming. An electrical short in the building's meter room. His front door handle was already warm by the time the fire brigade arrived. People were outside, coughing and crying. They found Ravi in the corridor, overcome by smoke, his phone still in his hand, a half-typed message on the screen. "Do not answer unknown calls after midnight." The paramedic who tried to revive him later swore she felt the phone vibrate once, even though its battery was dead. 3 calls, 3 different kinds of warnings. The fourth one didn't bring a warning. It brought a voice back from the dead. Tara was 10 when her father died in a car accident on a highway far from home. For months after the funeral, her mother's phone would light up with calls from relatives, banks, insurance agents. Tara watched her mother answer each one with the same tired, brittle hello. One night, at 12:15, when her mother had finally fallen into an exhausted sleep, Tara sat alone in the living room with her father's old phone. It had been returned with his belongings, screen cracked, SIM removed. She liked to hold it, to pretend he might still call. That night, it did. It lit up on the table, vibrating silently. The screen, though spiderwebbed with cracks, clearly showed Papa calling. Tara's heart stopped. She didn't think. She just picked it up. "Hello?" she whispered. On the line was the sound of wind and traffic, loud and rushing. Then her father's voice, panicked and breathless. "Tara? Beta? Listen to me carefully. Don't let your mother take the highway tomorrow. Make her take the train. Promise me." She pressed the phone harder against her ear, tears spilling. "Papa? Where are you? Why can't I see you?" "There's no time," he gasped. "Just promise." The tires, his voice dissolved in a screech of metal, a roar, then nothing. Next morning, her mother announced that they would be going to visit Nana and Nanny by bus. "Cheaper than train," she said. Tara clutched her father's phone. "Can we go by train instead?" she begged. "Please. Please, Mama." Money was tight, but something in Tara's insistence, the way she shook, made her mother relent. Later that day, news broke of a massive pile-up on the same highway, involving a bus from their city. No survivors. Her mother called it coincidence, a child's lucky fear. Tara never told her about the midnight phone call. Years later, when she was in college, she tried to charge her father's old phone again. The screen stayed dead. The last call in the log, from years ago, was from her mother. There was nothing after the date of his accident. No Papa calling. No record of the night that had saved their lives. If these 4 stories have blurred the line between coincidence and something else in your mind, then the last one is simple. No warnings. No second chances. Just a reminder that when you answer a stranger after midnight, you might not like who thinks you've invited them in. Sohail worked as a security guard in an upscale apartment. His job was dull. Sit in a glass cabin, check IDs, log car numbers. His only excitement came from his phone. Late at night, he'd scroll through videos with the volume low. One Sunday, around 2 a.m., as the entire complex slept, his phone rang. Unknown number. Bored, he answered. Child's voice giggled. Uncle, open the gate. I'm outside. He peered at the CCTV monitor. The road was empty. Who is this? He demanded. More giggles. Look properly. The line crackled. The screen in front of him flickered. For a second, the empty road showed a small figure standing just beyond the gate, face hidden by long hair, one hand holding a tiny, old-fashioned phone to her ear. Sohail's mouth went dry. Who gave you this number? He whispered. The girl on the screen tilted her head. On his phone, her voice turned flat. You did. The night you didn't open the gate when I was banging, remember? You said it was not your problem what happened on the road. You turned your volume up so you wouldn't hear me. A memory stabbed through him. Months ago, distant screams, a girl's voice, a thud, sirens later. A hit and run, they'd said. Nothing he could have done, he'd told himself. Now, on the monitor, the little figure raised her head. Her face was wrong, twisted, one eye hanging low, like it hadn't healed from impact. She smiled at the camera. You hear me now, she said in his ear. The lights in the cabin went out. The last thing the CCTV recorded was the guard's phone, ringing and ringing on the floor, its screen flashing unknown caller against the reflection of the open gate. The next time your phone lights up after midnight with a number you don't recognize. Remember Arjun at the window, Mira on the dark road, Ravi with the wrong date, Tara clutching a dead man's phone, and Sohail in the glass cabin. You can tell yourself it's just a scammer, a wrong number, a drunk friend. You can answer just to prove you're not scared. Or you can let it ring, watch the screen go dark, and never know which of those 5 stories you just stepped out of.